Why are so many Italian descendants reconnecting with their heritage and searching for their identity? After some tumultuous years on the globe, I've seen a massive rise in Italian descendants worldwide to reclaim their heritage and identity. It's truly one of the main reasons that I launched ORIUNDI. Here are 3 reasons why I think this is happening. Number 1, the COVID pandemic. Number 2, globalization. And number 3, yearning for connection and community. So let's start with number 1. This is maybe an obvious one to a lot of people. The COVID pandemic changed a lot of things for a lot of people, but I think the effects of a pandemic that kept us locked in for a year, 2 years, depending on where you were at, made people do a lot of thinking and soul searching on who they are, who they were, their family, who they want to be, things like that. So including myself, and I think a lot of other people in the Italian diaspora, we started looking into more of our history, more of our family traditions. We had more time at home, maybe making recipes or looking at old pictures and just understanding a lot more where we come from. And I think in periods like COVID, you also put life in perspective because it was a massive change. It was an unexpected change of kind of being locked up and having all the different craziness go on in the world that was going on in that period. So myself and a lot of others included, I feel like we took a look internally of who we are and how we fit into this world and what our identity is. And I think this hit home too for people of Italian descent or the Italian diaspora in general, because Italy was hit hard by the pandemic. And for example, I was studying in Italy at the time and I had to come back before my semester ended. So I think that there was just a period, it was a reset, right? We came out of COVID and the world was never the same afterwards. And maybe people prioritized different things or they looked at the world differently. And I feel like one of those things that came out of it was really understanding who you are as a person, because you had so much time inside to think about all these different existential questions during COVID compared to any other period in our lifetimes for the most part. So including myself, you kind of start to think of who you are, where you want to live, who you want to be, prioritizing, your health, your family, things like that. And I think that led to a lot of people reconnecting with aspects of their heritage that they maybe never would before, and also having this desire to go back and visit because they did maybe all this research into their family, looking at the pictures, reliving the traditions, making the recipes, and it made them at home feel a little bit more connected to who they were and their background. I don't think this was solely within people of Italian descent, but I think because we're such a large diaspora and spread out across North America, South America, Australia, and other parts of the world, even other areas in Europe, it was this moment for us to really think deeply about who we are. And I think for a lot of us, we realized that we have this large aspect or large characteristic behavior or lifestyle of somebody who comes from a background that's Italian, that your grandparents, great-grandparents, whatever, came from another place, and you've always felt this certain identity connected to Italy and to the traditions and the values that your family passed on to you through the generations, no matter what country you were in. So I think the COVID pandemic was a really big reset for a lot of people, and it made us look deeper into who we are. And for a lot of us, that comes down to a lot of our cultural, ethnic identity and how we feel as people and how we portray being American, Brazilian, Australian, which might come through not just the traditional lens, but having also this particular ethnic background that has shaped our lives. So I think that was a big aspect that kind of started this snowball of reconnection with the heritage and redefining what it is to be someone of Italian descent in the world, whether in Italy or outside. The second big thing, which kind of goes hand in hand with the same period, although it was happening well before obviously, is globalization. So I think, for example, there was a lot of people, I'm Italian American, and there was obviously a lot of Italian American neighborhoods historically in the US in a lot of different cities, which are either dying, shrinking, or no longer exist at all because of people moving all different places, whether it's from cities to the suburbs or from one city to another city within the country. This is happening everywhere in the world. People are looking for opportunities. There's remote work, there's different opportunities for school. People are moving a lot more, traveling a lot more, and getting exposed to different experiences and cultures. And I think this opened the eyes to a lot of the Italian diaspora, which replaced their Italian paese with a small neighborhood or town in whatever country they went to. So yes, the culture changed because they moved countries, they moved cities, but at the same time, they were still living kind of this local Italian experience. And so once that spread out, I think there was a level of people starting to realize that there's maybe more people like them. I mean, that happened for me on a trip that I took to Brazil. I tell this story all the time. Understanding that there's a big Italian diaspora in Sao Paulo, that opened my eyes a lot to like, wow, these people maybe grew up in a completely different way in a completely different country, but because of our background, we have a lot in common, whether it's values, traditions, view of the world, perspectives, priorities, understanding of certain things that maybe I wouldn't connect as well with on someone who doesn't have that similar background. So I think being able to see more of the world, but also of our diaspora and what being Italian looks like in different places in the world, or being of Italian descent, I think that has helped pique people's interest, or even the people that went through and started to reconnect with their families in Italy, whether it's cousins or great aunts and uncles, and that global aspect of bringing back your ancestral village or visiting in the past couple of years has really helped as well to improve and increase perspective of what the Italian diaspora is. And I think it's piqued a lot of people's interest. And that's why one of the main reasons I started ORIUNDI is because I saw a lot of people, especially people my age, that were like, oh, there's Italian communities in Argentina, Brazil, Australia. Like, this is very interesting. I didn't know these existed. I want to learn more about this. And I was already kind of knee deep in all this stuff as I consume a lot of content about it in the past, I don't know, let's say close to a decade or maybe a little less at this point, of understanding what being Italian looks like in so many parts of the world. And then number 3, the yearning for connection and community, I think comes a lot from the pandemic, because we were so locked away and separated from one another. And then also the world in general, which I'm making this video on social media, but social media has isolated and led to a lot of loneliness, especially in younger people. And I think there's this push in the past couple of years, especially after COVID and after understanding that community is good for humanity, and it's good to have a group of people to go to besides just being on your own or being alone all the time. And I think people in the Italian diaspora, especially, for example, in my Italian American heritage, background, and community, there was a desire to connect because we have a lot in common already, and it made connection a lot easier. So it was not difficult because we already had a lot of shared experiences, we had a lot of shared understandings, shared knowledge. And so people are looking for people like them, whether it's in a religious sense, whether it's in a cultural sense, whether it's in a values sense, whether it's in passions or hobbies sense. I think people started to get out more post-COVID, try and make those connections, and that's still happening in today's world, even though we're 5-6 years removed from the pandemic. So I think the pandemic kind of led to this desire to have community due to a lot of isolation and loneliness that came from the pandemic, but also other factors such as just the modern world or social media, or a lot of aspects that have made people kind of live in their own worlds and not share it with others. So I think one of the easiest things you can do with your heritage or your identity in a cultural sense is to share it, whether that's in a club, whether that's in an event or a festa, or that's in having people over, making food, sharing food with people, sharing experiences. I think that is one of the ways to make community, because you have a lot of shared values and background that connect you already. So it makes it a little bit easier. And I think that has happened in the diaspora. And that's what I'm trying to do and trying to show as well, is that even if we are from different countries and we speak different languages, our background, our heritage is Italian, and there's a lot of things we can pull from that we have in common, whether it be values, whether it be foods, traditions, religion, anything like that has been able to connect me with a lot of people in the diaspora as well, a lot easier than maybe someone from a completely different culture that I don't have quote unquote anything easily in common with, if that makes sense. So all in all, I think there's 3 main reasons why the Italian diaspora has been reclaiming their heritage and searching for and sometimes finding their Italian identity. And now it's the pandemic, globalization, and the yearning for community and connection. And if you are an Italian American looking to connect more with your heritage, with the Italian American dialect, then I have something for you. The Italian American Words, Volume 1. A book with 15 words from the Italian American dialect, like madon or scustumad, that you heard growing up and you might still use today. And it's part of our history as Italian Americans. So you don't want to miss this. Check my link in description for this ebook and take a look. See if you want to get this little ebook for remembering all the Italian American dialect words that you heard and that you still use and to carry forward into the future. And if you like content like this, talking about topics along the lines of heritage and identity and the Italian experience in the world, then ORIUNDI is for you. That's all for today. Ciao for now, e alla prossima.